All right, welcome back. In our series on JWT attacks, we've looked at some pretty clever tricks, but today we're going old school but with a modern, terrifying twist, the brute force attack. We're going to see just how fast modern hardware can absolutely shatter a weak secret key.
So let's just start with this question right off the bat. How long would it really take a modern GPU to crack your JWT secret key? I want you to actually think about it for a second, because if an attacker cracks that key, it is game over. Seriously, they can forge any token, they can become any user, including your admin, and they have full control. The stakes couldn't be higher. And the tools to pull this off are way more common than you might imagine.
So, here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with why one key can mean total control. Then we'll get into the brute force method itself. After that, we'll look at the GPU, the real game changer here, and run some pretty shocking math. And don't worry, we're not just going to scare you. We'll wrap up with the fatal flaws to avoid, how to fortify your app, and a bigger lesson on the zero trust mindset. Okay, let's dive in. First things first, right? To really get how this attack works, you have to know what we're aiming at. And our target in this case is that super common symmetric signing algorithm you see everywhere, HS256.
So the key thing to remember about HS256 is that it's symmetric. That means the exact same secret key that creates the token is the one that verifies it. It's one key to rule them all. And yeah, that's simple, but it also creates this single, massive, catastrophic point of failure. If that one key gets out, or if it's just not strong enough, your whole security model just implodes.
And that single point of failure brings us right to the brute force method. The idea behind it is, well, it's almost elegant in its simplicity, but also terrifying. All an attacker needs is one valid token from your app. Then they just start guessing. They try A, check the signature, no match. B, check the signature, no match. C, AA, AB, over and over and over again until, bam, their generated signature matches the real one. And then they've got your key.
So how do you defend against that? Well, your only real defense is to make the number of possible guesses, what we call the search space, so mind-bogglingly huge that it's just not feasible to try them all. And here's the kicker. That search space doesn't grow in a straight line. It grows exponentially with every single character you add. Let's see what that actually looks like.
Okay, so let's say you use a 4-character key. With uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and symbols, you're looking at around 14.7 million possibilities. It sounds like a lot, but for any modern computer, that is nothing. It's trivial.
But what if we just double it to 8 characters? Watch what happens. We don't just go to 28 million, we explode to 208 trillion. That is a massive leap. And for a long time, people thought, yeah, 208 trillion, that's a pretty safe number.
So let's do it again. Let's double it to 16 characters. Now the number is just ridiculous. It's something like 6 quintillion quadrillion. I mean, it's a number so big it's hard to even say it. It's impossible, right? No computer could ever search that. Or could it? Because, well, that's where our old assumptions start to break down.
See, that assumption that a giant key space automatically means you're safe was based on how computers used to work. But a new piece of hardware came along and completely changed the game. I'm talking, of course, about the GPU, the graphics processing unit. It has totally rewritten the rules on what's possible.
Okay, here's the core difference. Think of your CPU like a team of a few brilliant surgeons. They can perform incredibly complex, delicate operations one after the other. A GPU, on the other hand, is like an army of thousands of workers, each with just a hammer. They can't do surgery, but if you need to break 1,000,000 rocks, they can do it all at the same time. And what is password hashing? It's just hitting the same rock with the same hammer over and over again. It is the perfect job for a GPU.
And look, this isn't some abstract theory. There's a go-to tool for this, used by security pros and hackers alike. It's called Hashcat. It's open source, and it was built for one reason: to use the raw power of GPUs to just obliterate hashes at speeds you won't believe. And here is the number that should really make you sit up and pay attention. A single NVIDIA RTX 4090, a gaming graphics card that you can just go buy right now, can test around 6 billion, with a B, hmac SHA-256 hashes every single second. We're not talking about some government supercomputer. This is off-the-shelf hardware. Suddenly those impossibly large numbers don't feel so impossible anymore, do they?
All right, so now let's put it all together. We've got the simple brute force method, and we've got our GPU weapon. Let's point that 6 billion hashes per second fire hose at some common, weak secrets. The results are, well, they're pretty sobering.
Just look at this. It really shows you the razor's edge we're living on. A 6-character lowercase secret, poof, gone in less than a second. An 8-character word you'd find in a dictionary. You've got maybe a few minutes. Even a random 8-character secret with mixed case and symbols, it's gone in less than an hour. But then, look at the jump. A random 12-character key, hundreds of years. And a properly generated 32-byte, 256-bit random key, we're talking practically impossible, longer than the universe has existed. It's not a gradual slope, it's a sheer cliff. You're either totally vulnerable or completely safe, and there's almost no in-between.
Okay, that brings us to what is honestly the most important part of all of this. We've seen the attack, we've seen the scary math. So what do we do about it? Let's put on our defender hats, our blue team hats, and look at the common mistakes that get people into trouble, and more importantly, how to avoid them.
These are pretty much the cardinal sins of secret management, the things you just can't do. Using default secrets like secret or password 123, I mean, come on. Using dictionary words. Hard-coding your secrets right into your source code, a direct flight to a public GitHub repo. Sharing them in plain text over Slack or email, and of course the set it and forget it approach, where you never rotate your secrets. Each one of these is like leaving your front door wide open for this kind of attack.
But here's the good news. Fixing this is actually really straightforward. It's a simple checklist. 1. Generate a real 256-bit random secret. 2. Store it securely, never in your code. Use environment variables or, even better, a real secrets manager. 3. Rotate those secrets periodically. 4. For public-facing APIs, maybe even consider using an asymmetric algorithm like HS256. And 5, which is always important, validate that algorithm on your server so you don't get hit with other types of JWT attacks. And you don't even have to guess at how to generate one of those strong keys. Seriously, if you have OpenSSL on your machine, just run this command. OpenSSL rand base 64, 32. That's it. It will give you 32 bytes of cryptographically secure random data. Copy, paste, and you've got a secret key that is basically immune to this entire class of attack. Okay, so for the last part, let's just zoom out a little bit. Because this specific attack on JWT secrets, it's really a symptom of a much bigger issue. It points to a fundamental mindset shift we all need to make as developers. We have to move away from this old idea of misplaced trust and towards a zero-trust mentality.
And this is the connection that I think is so important. Think about it. The developer who uses a weak secret key is often the exact same developer who will copy a live production token and paste it into some random JWT decoder website they just found. Why? Because both of those mistakes come from the same place, a default sense of trust. Trusting that a simple secret is good enough, or trusting that some random website isn't secretly logging all your data.
This gets to the heart of a much better philosophy, something people call data sovereignty or a local-first approach. The idea is that real security isn't about blind faith. It's about building a workflow where you don't even have to trust anyone else with your secrets. You verify everything and you make sure your sensitive data never leaves your own machine. So what does that look like in practice? It means that when you need to decode a JWT or work with any kind of secret, you should only use tools that run 100% in your browser, on the client side. And you can prove this. Open up the Network tab in your browser's DevTools. If the tool is legit, you'll see zero network traffic when you paste your data in. That's how you know it's never leaving your machine. That's how you eliminate the risk. So I'll just leave you with this final question to think about. Is your development workflow built on a foundation of blind trust, or is it built on verifiable local-first security? Because look, having a strong 256-bit secret is absolutely critical. It's locking your front door. But that doesn't matter if your day-to-day habits are just handing the key to anyone who asks. You have to secure the whole process, from top to bottom.